YouTube. What's up, baby? We back in this thing again for another review. This is Q's Insight. I am Callie, and today we're going to be continuing Stranger Things Season 4, but now we're on Volume 2, Episode 8, entitled Papa. Okay? Papa. Don't forget Papa, because we got Papa in here. So Papa. You know what I'm saying? Papa. Yo, man. Yeah, man. Stranger Things. You know what I'm saying? Season 4, Volume 2, man. Let's get into this, man. Episode 8. Papa. If you've been in this channel before, you already know how we do it. Started off with the premise, 3 favorite scenes, the grade, and then we on to the action, right? Okay, so we pick up in the past in this episode, right after Elle puts Henry /1/ to become Vecna into the Upside Down, and we see that Dr. Martin walks in, just like we've seen before, walks to the Rainbow Room, and Elle ends up passing out from using her powers, and then he's like, what have you done? Da da da. We've seen that in the past, so I don't even really know why they even showed this in the beginning of the episode. Kind of didn't make any sense, but anyways, that's what happened in the beginning of the episode. All right, and then from there we see Nancy is still being controlled or under control by Vecna, and he's still showing her visions. So we see Vecna as Dr. Martin tattooing Henry, and then Steve and the others that are there around Nancy, they're trying to find some music to play for her so that way they can get her out of this trance. So as they're looking and everything like that, Vecna is showing Nancy where he came from and where he's gonna go. And Vecna wants Nancy to tell Elle everything he shows her. And after he tells her that, Vecna releases her from the trance. And that's how that scene ends. And then we pick up with Jim at that facility with the rest of the crew. And we see that the Demogorgon is still on the loose. We also see that the Russians have more Demogorgons. Well, we also see that the Russians have a Demogorgon strapped to a table where they're like basically doing some type of experiment to it. It's still alive, but it's strapped to a table. And then from there, we also see that the Russians have more Demogorgons, like in tubes. And they also have this smoke mist that is reminiscent to the mist that engulfed Will when he became overcome by the mind flare. Right? These things are all encased in tubes. So anyways, from there we go to Elle, and we see that she's gotten her powers back completely. You feel me? Like there was a situation where she ended up lifting up the Nina machine, so she has her powers back. Then from there we go to Mike and Will and Argyle, Jonathan, whatever. And they're talking about Elle, and Mike feels totally down because he's like, what if Elle doesn't need me at a certain point or whatever? And of course, Will being Mike's like best friend. Plus, I think there is something else going on. But yeah, there's definitely something else going on, bro. There's that, like, you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying. If you don't, I guess whatever. But you know what I'm saying. If you know what I'm saying. So Will ends up pepping up Mike about the situation, And then all of a sudden he starts crying because you know what I'm saying. God. Anyways, so from there we go back to Darton, Dr. Martin, and he explains to Elle about the situation with Henry, and they had just have a conversation. Nancy, then we go back to where Nancy is and the other crew, and Nancy tells the crew about what Vecna showed her, and so yeah. And as she's saying what she's saying, Elle ends up using her powers to basically project herself to where, Nancy and the crew is, and she's hearing them talk about what took place, what happened to Nancy, also about a plan to take out Vecna and everything. So she's in the loop without actually being there. So like I said, Nancy and everybody like Steve, everybody like that, they end up making a plan to defeat Vecna. And in order to do so, they need weapons, right? So that's the next thing they got to get. They got to get weapons. So from there, Jim, Joyce, everybody like that, whatever. They end up escaping the facility, and they're on their way to trying to get back to America through the means of using Yuri for transportation to do so. Then from there, Steve and the crew, they end up stealing an RV so that way they can travel as well as go get those weapons, like I said, so that way they can, and then after that, they can travel to, do what they're planning to do as far as to take out Vecna. And then so from there, we see Elle is making her way to the crew to protect them from Vecna and to fight Vecna as well. Well, she thinks she is. And then also we see the situation with Jim and Joyce, everybody else. They end up making Yuri take them to a helicopter to get them back to America. And once they get there, it's all the stuff like the helicopter's small, the helicopter hasn't been ran, the helicopter needs tune up, all the stuff like that, right? So they end up deciding to try to call Dr. Owens to see if he has any connections out here so that way they can get a ride with one of the connections and then get back to America. So, they end up having, I forgot his name, but Enzo, you know what I'm saying? Enzo. They end up having him call. He has to put a call through somebody in order for them to put a call to America. And then, so after that, they have to wait. And it could be 5 minutes, 5 hours, 5 days, whatever. So we don't know what's going on with that situation. But when the call does come through, most likely it's going to be that the KGB is listening on the other end. So it's be best for them to speak in, in code, you know what I'm saying? So that way they don't get the KGB on their back. But anyways, so Steve and the crew, they go to this place called War Zone, which is basically an ammunition / gun store. So they go there and they're getting weapons to go against Vecna with. While there, Nancy ends up seeing Jason, and they have this little confrontation. And from that, Jason has a hunch about Eddie being with them. So, anyways, from that, Nancy and them, they get what they need to get, then they leave. And then right behind them, Jason and his crew come out. They look at the RV kind of weird, like, hey, maybe we should follow it type thing. But we don't know if they're following them yet or not. But that it looks like they're going to be following them. So anyways, Mike and Will, and, Argyle and Jonathan, They end up getting closer to find Elle, and they're basically about to find her. And when right after that, Dr. Martin's men actually betrayed Dr. Owens and Elle, and the men end up holding Dr. Owens, hostage in a room or whatever. And Dr. Martin ends up locking Elle in this room with him, and he tells her that, look, you can't go. You're not ready. I know you want to go save your friends. I know you think you're ready to take on Vecna. And even if you feel like you're not ready to take on Vecna, you want to go save your friends. But that's not the thing to do. The right thing to do is to stay here, recoup. Let's get your powers to the max, and then we'll go after Vecna at that point. But she doesn't want to hear that. You know what I'm saying? She wants to go save her friends regardless. So they end up having this conversation. They talk, and things get pretty heated between the two. And it ends up being that Elle's like, look, either I'm going to leave this facility with Dr. Owens, and if you try to stop me, I'm going to kill you. Well, she opens up the door to the room that she was in, and Dr. Martin ends up injecting her with some drugs that make her like woozy. And right before she passes out, she ends up using her powers against him and is wanting to kill him, but it's not able to because she passes out. All right. So then we go back to Steve and the crew as they're preparing themselves for Vecna. And they're having talk, Steve is talking with Robin. Eddie is talking with Dustin. Erica is talking with Lucas. You know what I'm saying? So everybody just kind of vibing and preparing to get things going, because it's about to be a serious situation. You feel me? So anyways, Elle ends up waking up, and she has a collar around her neck. And of course, Dr. Martin put this collar around her neck. And he just tells her like, yo, this is just for safety measures. You feel me? I don't want to use it, but you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Anyways, right after that, Sullivan's men, which is the government, end up actually finding a facility, the secret base where Elle is being kept. And so they're rushing in this facility, and they're trying to get Elle. They're trying to find Elle. Sullivan's men starts to attack Dr. Martin's men. All out war happens, and what ends up happening is Dr. Martin's men end up basically failing, but this gives him enough time to get Elle and pick her up and try to take her out the facility, because she's still drugged up. It's less now, but she's still feeling the effects from the drugs. So that's what he does. He picks up Elle, and then they walk out the facility. And when they walk out the facility, there's this chopper that's above them, and they end up shooting, Dr. Martin like 2 or 3 times. The last shot was pretty fatal, so he's not able to walk anymore after that. Then the people in the chopper take aim at Elle. They tell Dr. Sullivan like, hey, like, should we take this? They tell General Sullivan like, hey, should we take the shot? We got the shot. And at the time, Mr. Sullivan is actually talking to Dr. Owens, and Dr. Owens is telling General Sullivan that, hey, look, like, I know you want to take her out, but look, just bring her in here. We'll sedate her. We'll put her out, and then let's see if these murders still go on. And if they go on, obviously these weren't being committed by Elle. And if they're not being committed by Elle, then you're going to need her help. So don't kill her. Don't take the shot. Of course, General Sullivan tells his men to take the shot. So right as it's about to happen, Mike, Will, Argyle, Jonathan pull up to the facility. And um, what ends up happening is Elle actually ends up getting up, and she uses her powers, and she takes down a chopper and blows it up, right? And when she blows it up, she blows up all the rest of the cars that, you know, Mr. General Sullivan and General Sullivan's troops came in. So now, you know, when they come out, they're not gonna have nothing to catch up to them with. They're gonna have to wait until some rides come, so that way they can start moving. But anyway, she takes out the chopper, it blows up the stuff that blows up the cars that Mr. General Sullivan was using for transportation. And then from there, Elle ends up having one last talk with Dr. Martin, and
to take a shower.
It's I don't know, it's weird, man. It's weird. They just have a talk, bro. They just have a talk, and it's about to be that Dr. Martin's about to die from bleeding out. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, Elle ends up leaving with the crew, trying to get back to Hawkins so that way she can save the rest of the crew that is actually going after Vecna. And then Sullivan ends up, General Sullivan ends up seeing, Mike, Elle, Will, Jonathan, Argo actually leaving in that van, but they can't catch up to them just yet because, like I said, their rides are blown up. So they're gonna have to wait for somebody to come pick them up so that way they can get on the trail of Elle and them. You know what I'm saying? Then we go back to Steve. Wait. Yeah, then we go back to Steve and the crew. And basically, I think that what they're doing is they're going in groups. Because we see that Max, Lucas, and Erica get dropped off at Vecna's house. And they're going to make their way into, the upside down there. And then the rest of the people that were in the RV, the rest of the crew that are in the RV, they keep going. So I feel like it's going to be, just from the commercials, you know what I'm saying? I feel like, and also from what we just saw right now, it's probably going to be, Max, Lucas, and Erica, one spot. Dustin and Eddie, one spot. And then Robin, Nancy, and Steve in one spot. And they'll go the upside down in separate ways. I don't know why they're doing that, but okay. All right, so that's basically the premise of this episode, man. Three of my favorite scenes would be Steve and the crew, getting ready to go and get as they were making their plans. Like, it was cool to see all these like revelations of like what was revealing stuff. Like, you feel me? Like, it was cool. Like, oh well, there's gonna be 4 deaths. There's gonna be 4 gates. There's 4 chimes to the clock. That, you know what I'm saying? Like, all this stuff was crazy to find out. You know what I'm saying? And it was right under our eyes, and it was crazy because like Vecna was trying to like kind of in a way like leave his mark. You know what I'm saying? But we didn't pick up on it. Neither did the crew. You know what I'm saying? So. But that was crazy to see. And then Elle was watching it, you know what I'm saying, from far away, using her powers. Like, that was a crazy scene. My second favorite scene would be Elle taking out the chopper, bro. That was dope, bro. She did her thing, right? And then my last favorite scene would be Elle's last words with Papa, Dr. Martin, you know what I'm saying? Papa. That it was crazy, man, cuz it shows Elle's growth. You know what I'm saying? She knows from right and wrong. And she knows that Dr. Martin was wrong. And although he tried to make things right at the end, you know what I'm saying, she still did have love for him. But she wasn't just going to roll over and be like, nah, everything's good. Like, nah, bro, it's not. But goodbye, Papa. You know what I'm saying? So it was a cool little scene right there. This episode, man, it gets a 10 out of 10 for me. Not as much action as I would like to see, but I'm pretty sure they're saving all the action for episode 9, all right? But yeah, 10 out of 10 for me for this episode. Let me know what you guys thought about this episode if you guys saw it in the comments down below, alright? One more episode to go, then this is it until we get to season 5. And who knows how far down the line that's going to be. But we got to enjoy what we got, and that's exactly what I'm doing. Alright, but yeah, let me know about that in the comments down below, what you guys thought about episode 8. Please remember to like, subscribe, and share. As always, this is Q's Insight. I am Cali, Until next time.